Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for listening to Mr. Laxton on these Algebra 2 7.5 notes today. All right, so today we are looking at graphing square root and cube root functions. So my essential question today, just what you guys might think, how do I graph square and cube root functions? All right, and just kind of a pre-crease coming up is that we are going to look at some equations today that look like this, and notice that I have my h and my k in here. We're going to move those h and my k's left and right and up and down, just like we've kind of done with absolute value functions, we've done with some graphs throughout the year. So it's going to be really the same deal. Okay, and here's going to be the main thing is these mother functions, or you can call them parent functions, whichever one you want to call them. We look at y equals just the square root of x, and then y equals the cube root of x. All right, so first of all, let's graph these guys. All right, we can graph these guys by plugging in perfect squares and perfect cubes because we're going to get nice numbers, right? And the nice thing that happens here, and I'm going to put this here, is 0 is a perfect square. All right, so I'm going to plug in perfect squares. Let's put that here, perfect squares. And I put 0 in that second one for a reason. I'll talk about that in just a second. If I go over on my other perfect squares, I know that 1 is a perfect square, I know that 4 is a perfect square, and 9 is a perfect square. Okay, and the reason why I left this one blank is I'm going to plug in -1. All right, because if I plug in -1 for my x, what is the square root of -1? And we know that is I. So these guys are all just imaginary numbers. So this whole side of the graph over here, this whole left side, is all going to be just imaginary. All right. For right now, is that we're going to have nothing over there. It's just imaginary numbers. We're not going to graph them. All right. But we can plug in 0. So let's go through and plug in 0. The square root of 0 is 0. The square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. And the square root of 9 is 3. All right. Awesome. So these guys here, we have 0, 0. We have 1, 1. We have 4, 2. And we have 9, 3. And that's just off the graph over here, I think. So that is my parent function. It's something that starts at 0, 0 and kind of goes up and to the right there. All right, my perfect cubes, and if I look at my cube roots, I look at this guy. I know that my perfect cube, I know that 0 is a perfect cube. I'm going to put that on there. All right, and then I also look over at my perfect cubes. I have 1 and 8. All right, because those are my perfect cubes on my gold sheet for me. I'm going to plug in -1 and -8 too. All right, because remember here, if this is odd, you only get one answer. So we don't have to worry about imaginaries here because I can take the cube root of negative numbers. All right, so if I look here, if I look at the cube root of 0, the cube root of 0 is 0. The cube root of 1 is 1. 1 times 1 times 1 gives you 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. All right, the cube root of -1 is -1, and the cube root of -8 is -2, excuse me. So this guy should be a -2 here, not a -1. All right, so now let's just go through and graph these. I have -8, -2, which is right here. I have -1, -1, which is right here. I have 0, 0. I have 1, 1, and then I have 8, 2. Okay, so this graph is kind of funky looking. It comes in here on the left side. It comes in through these guys, goes up through there, and shoots out that way. All right, so that's my graph for a cube root function. All right, it's kind of that, I don't know, what do you call that? It's almost like a snake, I guess, right? So now to graph these guys, here's the main thing that we're going to look at today is graphing these. You need to sketch the graph of y equals ax, a cube root of x, or y equals a square root of x. Remember here that a can make the graph positive or negative. It can stretch it, can shrink it. Okay, so that's what my a is. We're going to first graph kind of that a square root of x, a cube root of x. We're not going to worry about these h and k's until after. Okay, and then after we look at just that square root of x or cube root of x, then we're going to move it h units horizontally and k units units vertically. All right, so perfect here. Let's look at this guy, and it says here I just worry about this. So this is my parent function right away. All right, so that's my parent, and that's all I'm going to worry about. And remember that for square roots, I like to plug in 0, 1, 4, and 9. Okay, and I know that the square root of 0 is 0, the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. So that's my first thing I'm going to graph here. I'm going to go 0, 0, I'm going to go 1, 1, 4, 2, and 9, 3. That's a little bit off the graph. All right, so that 0 right here is my parent. Now I'm going to move it, my h and my k. And remember here that your h is the one that changes. So my h is equal to -4, and my k is equal to -1. The h always changes. So h is the opposite of what it looks there. All right, so my h is -4 and my k is -1, so this means I move 4 units left and then 1 unit down. My h is my horizon, that's why I move horizontally left and right, and my k moves up and down. All right, so 4 units left. So I'm just going to take every point on here and just move it 4 left and 1 down. So I take this point right here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 down right there. So my final graph for this guy is that orange one. So this is my final. All right. Make sure you label it for me so I know which one's your parent and which one is your final. That's important as well. Okay, so start off with this parent. All right, so just plug these 0, 1, 4, 9 into your parent function, and then go through and then move it with that h and the k as you guys find there. Okay, awesome. So here we go. Number 2 is a little bit tougher because I have this -2 out in the front. So this is going to be my parent. This is going to be my original here, is -2 cube root of x. All right, and remember those cube root numbers, you're always going to plug in -8, -1, 0, +1, and 8. All right, that's what we're always going to plug in for these cube roots because they're nice numbers. All right. Here, if I plug these guys in, I have to plug them into that parent function. So here I have -2 cube root of -8. All right, and I know that the cube root of -8 is 2. So the cube root of +8 is 2. So this guy is going to be -2. So this guy shoots out 4. So I have -8, 4. All right. If you plug in 1, the cube root of -1 is -1 times -2 is +2. 0, doesn't matter there, you're still going to get 0 times -2, which is 0. If you plug in that 1, I have the cube root of 1 is 1. Multiply it by -2, you should get a -2 out here. The cube root of 8 is 2 times that -2 is -4. All right, so I go through and graph these parent ones first. So I have -8, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have -1, 2. 0, 0, 1, -2, and then 8, -4 is over here. So this guy right here is my parent function. I'll see if I can get that in there right. Awesome. That's my parent function. And now I have to make sure that I move it with my h and my k. So don't forget about that. My h here, remember, is the opposite of what it looks like. So this is +3. My k is +2. It is what it looks like. So this guy I have to move 3 to the right. And 2 left, or 2 down, 2 up, excuse me. Whoa. Your k moves it up and down, and it's positive, so it moves it up. So every single one of these points, I have to move right 3 and up 2. So 1, 2, 3, up 2. So that's where that point goes. 1, 2, 3, up 2. That's where that point goes. 1, 2, 3, up 2. 1, 2, 3, up 2. This guy is going to be off the graph over here, so let's just copying these guys. This one goes in through here and something like that. And this orange guy is my final. All right, so again there, graph that parent function. That one has that -2 in with it, so you got to be careful when you plug in these and find out your y values here. And then move each one of those with your h and your k. All right, so thank you again for listening to Mr. Laxton's video on this. Please come find me if you have any questions. Thank you.